Yo, yo, what's going on? Yo, we back at it again, and today we about to freshly get back into a new episode and a pretty much different one from the last time. So let's check it out. Oh, and by the way, like and comment, subscribe to my doggone page.
Just to kind of introduce why we're all kind of here on a Saturday afternoon, I host a show here called Minority Reports. It's a digital show, and we're doing an episode based around like the political ideologies of the Black community and how they differ and where they overlap. And so we've brought, a nice eclectic group of brown people here to kind of discuss politics and how we all come to our political ideologies as members of the Black community in America. Hopefully what this will do is allow our audience who probably wouldn't find themselves in this type of an environment to have this type of a conversation to learn something. So with all that being said, 3 words or less, when you think of Donald Trump, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Rob, why don't we start with you?
Strong. Make America great.
Oh, me.
Can we come back to me?
We'll come down.
Can we come back to me?
Oh, his ancestors' wildest dreams.
Very scary. Trash. Man.
Anti-Black.
Necessary.
I just think unicorn in the sense of just causing
Unicorn.
so much discussion.
The reason why Donald Trump is in this spotlight right now is because of our past failed governments. For the simple fact that when the Republican primary happened, there was like 16 different candidates. And don't get me wrong, there was like really good ones, really stature to the point that everyone in this group will be like, oh, yeah, I can see why he won. And Donald Trump became an opportunist and knocked down every single person week by week, like it was literally watching a different season of The Apprentice. Look what has America done, that a guy from the outside can just walk in there, bing, bang, boom, and take down these iconic, structured politicians that we look up to throughout our whole lives.
Drain the swamp, as it was put.
Yeah.
But can we talk about that though? Like this whole notion of like a guy from the outside, like that's part of my issue, right? Like if you really know how this country is being run, like the country has always been run by rich billionaires. So like he's not from the outside. This country has always been run by pharma. This country has always been run by banks. This country is literally run by the industries that he made his millions and billions in. So like this whole thing, like, oh, he's a political outside. No, because politics has always been run by capitalism, which is the system that has always suppressed minorities. So like that's even in itself.
Always.
Capitalism has always oppressed minorities.
I don't think first capital in this country.
I don't think so.
I do have to jump in and take a little bit of umbrage with this idea that capitalism is some sort of system that oppresses minorities to this point. And also, I don't like saying minorities. We want to talk about Black people. Like, let's just talk about Black people because I'm not a minority. I'm not a person of color. I'm Black.
Can we all agree?
All right. So I just want to make that point. All right.
Absolutely.
So when we look at capitalism as something that has oppressed minorities or is oppressing minorities, we remove from ourselves the capacity to use capitalism in order to build our communities, in order to move forward for ourselves.
Yeah.
By show of hands, who here voted for Donald Trump?
All day.
Rob, you did not vote for Donald Trump.
I did not vote in the 2016 election.
Tell me why.
I didn't vote in the 2016 election because where I was in my life, I didn't feel like either of those candidates had earned my vote. I considered myself a Democrat at the time. I loathed Hillary Clinton and the entire Clinton machine. And if you really want to get into it, I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary.
Oh, Jesus.
You want to talk about a conversion? You want to talk about a conversion? I voted for Bernie Sanders in the New York State primary. Like that's where I was. Okay.
For the Black conservatives, how do you align with white conservatives when they speak mal of Black people, just in terms of how, especially they speak of Black men?
You call them out. My whole thing that's like
not
for
even
me,
calling them out, but just how you stand with them when they are speaking mal
how do
against
you stand with Hillary Clinton
Like,
when
it's
she
not...
calls kids super predators?
But I'm just saying,
that's the
so
thing.
overtly and continuously? How do you do that?
It's overt and continuous from the Democratic Party as well. So
People are people.
either
It's a
way,
war.
People
It's
are
a
gonna be-
war either
go ahead.
way, anywhere you go. You know what I'm
there's gonna
saying?
be racists
But there
everywhere you
are
go.
going to be some racists all over the place. So now it's like, okay, yo, watch your mouth. Like, I'm not, okay, we're not going that route.
What is your reaction when you see a black person wearing a MAGA hat?
I didn't hear the last part.
When you see a
MAGA
black
hat,
person wearing a MAGA hat, 3 words or less, what is your reaction? Go for it.
I thought she said.
That was his. That was his 3 words or less.
Speak. Okay, but that's his response.
Yeah.
3 words or less. There's a story. I don't know. That's 4. I don't know. There's a story.
Independent-minded brother.
I got 1 word. It's bold.
That's so funny. He said, brother.
Confused. Oh, cringe.
And
You do you.
Looks good on you. It can't fit on my head.
What is your
That's okay.
perception of black conservatives?
Believing in Trump's rhetoric, just morally, I don't understand. Because morally, just him as a person, as an entity, is just super corrupt. And his ideologies, I don't understand how anyone can be about it, but especially a black person, just as an identity as a black person, I don't understand it.
Which one's worse?
But the thing about it is that he asked you about conservatism and then you took it to Trump.
Like,
girl,
he
just
said not
say what
wearing
you
a
feel
MAGA
about
hat.
black.
But the Democratic Party do the same thing, and y'all don't say nothing about it. Wow.
Conservative.
We were
Let's
talking about
go.
MAGA hats.
okay.
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
connection.
No.
Yeah.
For those of us who identify as conservative, right? I want to hear about your treatment within the black community, being an outspoken black conservative. And then I want to hear about the perceptions that you think people have of you. Whoever wants to start.
Well, I'll start with myself.
Go for it.
Because so look, you're gonna hear, and I'm gonna let Bevelyn speak to the black perspective, but I'm gonna speak from the gay perspective.
Sure.
All right? Because I came out as a black gay conservative about 6 months ago. I have been treated horribly by other gay people. The only friends that have dumped me, or quote unquote friends that have dumped me for being conservative Republican, have been the gay ones. The people who give me the most
much
grief
for love.
on social media have been the gay ones. The people that call me the nastiest, all kinds of oh, house nigga, Uncle Tom, all this stuff. These have been gay people, or the people from the quote unquote tolerant and inclusive LGBTQ community. All right. So this is what my experience has been. And being somebody that has been an advocate and still consider myself an advocate, just not in the way that they want me to be, I was very shocked by that. Because I think that when I came out as conservative, they like to push forward this veneer of inclusion and tolerance, and that dropped like that. So it was the nastiest treatment that I had ever seen, and I never expected it. And you never expect it as a gay person until it happens to you.
For me, it started with my high school friends. Everybody was unfriending me on Facebook because, I was talking about the Trump election and I went to the inauguration and all of that. So and then it trickled down to my family. Aunts won't speak to me. Even now I got aunts that don't talk to me because I want to be white. So it's I get this stigma all the time.
Wow.
Oh, you want to be white and you don't move to New York City and now you think you up there with the big city folk and you want to be white. It seems like when I speak of what I speak of, it's only the fact that I just want to be white. And that's so far-fetched from the truth. I've been called a bed wench. I've been called, and I'm talking about from my black brothers who on they page be talking about black queens and all of this stuff like that. But the moment I don't agree with nothing they talking about, now I'm a bed wench. Now you know what I'm saying? I'm all this other stuff. And it's just to be honest with you, ain't nobody been boss enough to say none of this stuff in my face. And they not gonna. All of this is via social media. We know this. But at the same time, it's just hatred. It's been nothing but hatred. And, for me, it's even when I deal with liberals who may have their little mindset or way they think, I ain't gonna disrespect them and call them all types of names. It's I've gained all that flack and disrespect. And it's just because I want to be white, this is what I get.
So does anyone else?
I made a statement online. I got a lot of people commenting on it. I didn't see true racism in this country until I became a conservative.
Facts.
Because I've seen hate hate speech come from people. You don't talk about left always talking about hate so much. I saw true hate coming from the left, and it was white people calling me Uncle Tom. Pretty much, white people telling me I'm not black enough, which is racist.
No, it's
and when you call them out on it and you say they're racist, they're like, no, I'm not. They think about it like, well, yeah, I am kind of being racist. Yeah. That's how racist the left still is. And then I had family members, like she said, my aunts that don't talk to me anymore. I have high school friends since childhood that don't talk to me, unfriended me. And a lot of white friends as well. Now, I'm not talking about just black friends, but I'm talking about people on the left in general just have that hate in their heart, in my opinion. And it just, that's what I felt.
And it's so interesting that on the left, like the wokies,
They get super passionate about the things that they do and say. That's a fact. If you don't agree with them, then you a coon, you this and that and the third, all that other bullshit. So yeah.
is what I call them. These are the people that are woker than you can ever be. But the wokies give the white liberals of the left this space to tell a black person how to be black and how you are supposed to experience.
It's not you, girl, but
and how you're supposed to think as a black person.
Who here voted for Barack Obama? Damn near everybody.
Well, no.
Twice.
Campaign for him in 08.
Both terms.
So did I.
He had a great campaign. I just didn't vote for him.
A semi-personal question. Did anyone vote for him just because he was black?
Not just, but that was a big reason I voted for him.
See, I'll admit, it's really funny because I'm a conservative. And I will admit that I voted for Barack Obama in 2008 purely because he was black.
Yes.
I'll admit that.
And I did too.
I'll admit it. And the reason why I voted for him is because I was so open to and so available to be used by all of the systems that made that person president, right? And for all of the systems that were promoted to me, this idea that just because he is biracial, African-American, whatever you want to call it, that he is going to somehow have my best interests at heart, that he somehow comes from the same experience that I did.
Nowhere
Barack
near.
Obama did not come from the same experience as me. Let me tell you something. I grew up black and poor in Akron, Ohio. Okay, this person was born and raised in wealth and privilege his entire life. And the idea that this person was somehow more connected to me because we share the same skin color is crazy. But I bought it, and it was sold to me. I bought it.
And I made that same mistake in 08. I voted for him mainly because he was a black man.
Same mistake.
I made same mistake. It was a mistake, definitely. Yeah, and 8 years later, the mistake, that's one reason why I'm conservative now, because I said, when I was young, more naive, I was willing to vote for somebody because of the way they look. And look what it did for me. Absolutely nothing. So I make sure next time I make a vote, it's going to be with some substance. It's going to make sure where somebody's going to have what they're saying and what their actions is going to make me cause their vote. And that's why I voted for
before we move forward, by show of hands, who is disappointed with the Barack Obama presidency?
I'm disappointed with I'm disappointed with all of them. I can talk about a couple of things. Right? I mean, we put a black face on a white imperialist nation and expected that change was going to happen. My grandmother, my ancestors, especially my grandmother, my grandfather, they were sold that that was what the American dream was supposed to look like, that a black man could come in this country, that black people could come from chattel slavery and achieve the highest position in the land. Unfortunately, the way that these systems of oppression work, especially K through 12, we're often taught that leadership, what's gonna lead black people to liberation is gonna come from a white man. And so like when we then had a black face up there, it really felt like, we really close. Like we really close. But then it was a lot of unlearning that a lot of us had to do, a lot of unlearning that we all still currently have to do to understand that our oppression, where our oppression came from, and the fact that like we're never going to be led to liberation in a binary system. A binary system for black people is literally always going to be us choosing the lesser of two evils, no matter how you slice it or dice it. Whether it's a Republican in office, whether it's a Democrat in office, I'm always choosing my death either as a blunt force blow or death by 1,000 paper cuts. And it tends why I guess in general Black people always lean Democratic is because that death is by 1,000 paper cuts, as opposed to what I'm dealing with right now, where I'm watching HIV funding being stripped as a Black queer HIV positive person, where I'm watching trans people losing all of their rights in this country as an LGBTQ person.
What rights are trans people losing?
Good question. Yeah, I'm curious about that myself.
You want to respond?
No, I'm serious too.
Yeah, I can take it. I can take it.
I'm really
I'll gladly take it. So we can start with, in 2017, the Office of National AIDS Policy was taken away. There is no more Office of National AIDS Policy. Transgender women, including especially Black trans people, are the highest infected people of HIV in this country, including Black MSMs. So you had that office.
Oh, you don't say. Why is that?
Taken away. You then have had where $586 million was removed from the Ryan White Fund and transferred for the border separations. Ryan White money is what pays for people to have HIV care in this country when they cannot afford it. That includes transgender people. You have where 7 words were removed from the CDC funding, including vulnerable, transgender, and scientific base. So now companies that supported trans rights and trans people can't write grants to get money to help that particular demographic. You have the transgender military ban. When I say that they are literally attacking LGBTQ rights, this is not a joke. It is just coming because it's so much bullshit going on. You just miss that every day these little things are happening.
I just wanted to say, it's curious to me because I'm somebody who's gay as well. I'm gay. I'm not queer. I'm not LGBTQ. I am a gay Black man.
So that you can't speak to what I'm speaking to.
No, I can't. And what's so curious to me is that we talk about our community as if everybody that's transgender is infected with HIV or has housing insecurity. As everybody that's a gay and lesbian, like Black or male,
that's
or whatever.
Not even what I mean, that's not what I said.
So this is how. So my whole thing is. This is how we speak of the community all the times. Is that we are always some oppressed victim.
Okay, so
let me ask another question. As a gay person, it drives me insane because I fought for LGBT rights when I got arrested at the front of the White House protesting Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal because I served in the military for 5 years. I grew up poor and Black in Akron, Ohio, all right? I went to one of the worst schools in Akron, Ohio. I went to the military, risked my life multiple times, okay, to get every single thing that I have right now. There is no reason that every single Black kid on the block can do that same thing.
Now, did somebody say it? Thank you.
So before we get into that, hold on.
We're not going there. We're not going to do that.
I think we should, though.
We're going to get to all this thing. So you didn't vote for Donald Trump.
I did not.
What are the issues that you take with the president?
So just really quickly to a point that George said, right? That I feel like the candidates that keep being put up year after year after year keep hardlining us. We're saying we're choosing the lesser of two evils, right? Where I think that it's really important that we see candidates that come from our communities that are talking about, like for me, right? I'm 25 years old. My student loan debt was due on Monday. Still haven't paid that, right? Because don't got the money to pay that right away. So thinking about what are ways that we see people who are experiencing the same thing, who are coming from our community, who also recognize the historical debt that this country has to Black people and to people of color so that we can move forward. So we know that, like, none of us are free unless all of us are free.
Thank you.
So, but when it comes to...
I'm free. I don't know what he's talking about. That got nothing to do with me. I'm free.
So you voted for Donald Trump?
Yes.
Would you mind telling us why he won your vote in 2016?
At first, I really didn't know much about what Trump was doing. I just knew, okay, it ain't her. So I'm just going to vote for him. And I was still coming into being a conservative and all of that. And I just got converted to a Christian. I'm looking at my Christian values and I'm growing as a Christian and I'm realizing, wow, you know what I mean? This man is really aligning himself with what we truly believe in, you know, and coming from the South, Charlotte, North Carolina, we're really Christians, you know what I'm saying? Where my people from, you know, everything is based off of that. So I'm not going to support any party that's going to support abortion. You know what I'm saying? We just now getting kind of comfortable with homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know, it's just like with marriage, you know, divorcing and everybody sleeping with every time, Dick and Harry, you know, in the South, it ain't like that. So it's like, that's just that foundation of Trump. But now going into the economy. I mean, I'm a businesswoman. I have my own financial consulting company, and seeing what he's been doing to where my taxes are not that high and I'm not paying for what I came from, AKA living off of food stamps and I got family on food stamps that continue to live off of it. And I know, listen, I came from the hood. I was just in the hood yesterday because my cousin just got out of jail, so I went to go see him. So, I mean, this is what I'm around every day. And it's like, my cousins got the same opportunities I got. All they know about is either they're gonna make it in basketball or they're gonna have to just try to get some type of job and make it. I'm like, no, let's start a business of like, let's get this chicken, let's get into real estate, let's do this, that, and the other.
Reform is helping certain people, you know.
It's helping me.
But it's temporary. You know, you have the tax
But creating your own business is not
Listen,
temporary.
it's not temporary.
Let me tell you something. I just want to finish my statement.
Sure.
What I'm saying is this, for me, because I was able to step out, and this is a chick who got a felony, who had 5 years probation, who got a felony for grand larceny, which came down from money laundering. So when I say I was doing white collar crime, I was out here in these streets hustling, scamming, please, okay? And so what I did was I made a choice to surrender my life to Jesus and live righteously. And so what he did was he put me in a position to where now I can teach people about finances and how to get out of the illegal game and clean their money the right way, get their credit on point, get into real estate, flip houses, and live a good stewarded life with money. So now I'm taking my cousins who all sell drugs. All of my cousins sell drugs. If they're not playing ball, they selling drugs. And if they in jail, they getting out to sell drugs because they too old for ball. So all they know how to do is get money. So how do you tell somebody who been getting money all their life, oh, so now I'm about to work a regular job, like get paid and they gonna take tax out my check, and then they don't even know where their taxes is going. So they just work 40 hours a week. They thinking they about to get a nice little $500 check and say $250. They're like, wait, what? I'm about to go sell drugs again. So now I have to teach them how to get out here in the legal game and let's flip this money the right way. And again, the taxes that are placed on these businesses can either help us or hurt us. And what Trump is doing is helping me teach my cousins in the hood how to move so that they can get money and not keep busting people upside the head for money or selling drugs to people. These people that are continuously living on welfare, we're paying for it. So the more you're giving them in food stamps, the more you're allowing them to extend their lifestyle in the projects, the more money is coming out of my pocket as a taxpayer, and then now it's hindering my business. Well, now I'm not paying that much taxes. I got more money. So now if I need to say to homie, yo, listen, I got 5 racks. I'm about to invest this into you so we can start working on your business. And if we're going to let the money circulate, once it circulates, you can go out on your own. If taxes is taking that money, how can I take that 5 racks and give it to him?
That's part of my problem with Donald Trump is he's literally making the rich richer. And what happens with that? The poor have to get poorer.
Raise your hand if you agree with the statement that I'm about to make. The welfare system destroyed the black family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So for the people who did not raise their hands, please tell me why you disagree with that assertion. You do not agree with that assertion.
That's a hard question because it didn't help or hurt. It's the same.
It's the same. Right.
It's the same thing because I believe at one point, you couldn't get welfare if you had a man in the house or something like that. It's just.
And I think the other issue is like nobody's actually talking about like how that system, like those systems, affirmative action benefited more white women than it did anybody else.
About affirmative action.
Okay,
like why do they bring up things that don't got nothing to do with
Let him finish.
I'm literally about to make a correlation, but
please.
What I was going to say is that a lot of these systems that literally have been stereotyped to look like it's black people who benefit the most from them is actually white people who benefit the most from them. So that's what I was going to. So when I brought up affirmative action, I was bringing it up as a correlation. Like affirmative action is always sold publicly like it's benefited more black people when it actually has benefited more white women. Welfare is a system that there are more white people in this country on welfare than black people. More white people have benefited from welfare than black people. So like when we
there's more white people in the country. What does white people have to do with what is doing to black people? Why every time we talk about white people, black people start going back to white people?
Yeah,
Why
so the conversation
because if you understand how systems of oppression work, then you would understand that the system is being sold publicly as something that black people or destruction of black people when realistically.
Like people who talk about welfare reform and all that stuff.
Honestly, I like the way they getting on his ass. I like the way they getting on him. For real talk. I like the fact that they getting on him. Because what he just said is absolutely wrong. Affirmative action have basically, yes, it did benefit black people. It definitely benefited black people. And it does still to this day. It actually got black people to be able to get into positions without being actually qualified or actually having the skills.
Talk over each other. We was gonna play nice in the sandbox before we got here. And
Finish,
we're not.
please. And then we'll open it up to rebuttals. Please, George, please finish your point.
yeah, so again, my point goes back to just like what she was saying, like with the whole whether it hurt the black community or whether it helped the black community, that's not really the issue. The issue is that all these are systems of oppression, and all the systems are interconnected. And we can't keep looking at these systems as like, oh, well, this is this one thing and this affects this. Like even when she was bringing up her paycheck, she's like, well, my paycheck is going to this. Like, yeah, but your paycheck is also going to infrastructure. Your paycheck is also going to Medicaid. Your paycheck is also going to Medicare. Your paycheck is also going to Social Security, which is what helps my grandmother survive. Your paycheck, like, you know what I mean?
So I'm paying for your grandma, that's okay.
But your kids are gonna pay for you too.
But can we make our own choice to say that we want to put our own money to the side to help what we want to help?
So again, what I'm saying is my point that I'm trying to make is that the systems are interconnected. So you can't just keep speaking like this system is this and we need to remove this money from this system. It's like, that's not how that works. These systems are all interconnected. So it's not like you're just removing something from here and it's not gonna have a chain reaction on the other ways that they're able to oppress us through a different system.
And I understand all this, and we can have these very academic.
But yet you think having a one-track mindset like yours is the best way to go. Okay.
Conversations about systems of oppression and intersectionality and all these other things. Like we can do that all day long. Everybody has a degree here. But what we really need to talk about is how do we help the people right now?
Thank you.
Exactly.
And you help the people right now.
You just said everybody has a degree.
Let me ask this.
You help the people right now.
So what are the policies that you have seen put forth either by conservative politicians or by our current president that you agree with, that you feel are benefiting the black community?
Just for example, you look at Trump when he did what he was doing with the tariffs for the trades. And he's done that. Now he's bringing jobs back into the country. When you get jobs back into the country, black unemployment is at the lowest it's been in American history. Black unemployment's at right now. So that benefits not just me, but any person that's black. Mm-hmm. How's it not benefit? Trump has everything. A lot of things Trump's done when it comes to jobs, the economy, when it comes to the stock market. I'm investing for the first time in my entire life and making a lot of money, by the way. Thank you, Donald Trump, for that. So, I mean, and I'm a black man, and my black man, is there an invisible wall there's a wall that says, oh, you're black, you can't invest? No, I go right through that wall and I invest. That's what blacks can do. We need to stop playing victim and start being victor.
Yes.
So let me ask this. For those of us who have a problem with some of the policies that have been offered by conservative politicians or by the sitting administration, I want to ask you a very specific question. Do you believe that either the sitting president and his administration offer racist policies, or that the party that conservative politicians fall under offer racist policies?
I want to stop calling things racist.
Sure. No, but tell me why.
They want to hear that.
It's again that's why I don't talk anymore in terms of racism. Like Toni Morrison said, racism is a distraction. She had a very good point on how it distracts us from doing the actual work we need to do. I work in my community. I do HIV testing. I physically work with the people who I talk about. Like, you know what I mean? I don't tell people, go pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I go buy the goddamn boots for them because I have a little bit more privilege than them. But when we talk about it, I'm talking about anti-blackness because this is a global thing. And I think that's the part that they were bringing up earlier, like we can't just look at like some isolationism just of Black Americans or just of this. Like anti-Blackness is a global thing and it's all interconnected. And
Okay, and so is anti-homosexuality. So now what? Yo, everywhere you go is gonna be anti this, anti that. You have anti-Christians.
And the problem is, like, people are like, oh, we shouldn't talk about the intersections. We've never had the ability to talk about the intersections. So this is the time that we actually need to start talking about the damn intersections because we've never had that opportunity. If the one thing I will say about Donald Trump is that, yeah, he opened up the floor for conversations. Yeah. So now, because now for the first time ever in this country, white people.
This conversation has been going on for thousands, for 40 to 50 doggone years. What is he talking about?
White people feel oppressed.
Necessary.
Now that white people feel oppressed, they calling me all the damn time because now they want to know what oppression feel like. And now they want to know, well, how'd you get through this? Because now I'm getting booked and busy all the damn time because white people feel oppressed. And that's who they feel oppressed. They feel oppressed by somebody that look like them and they're not used to that. A particular part of this country for the first time ever in their whole lives feel just as oppressed as my ass is.
And can we also talk like about like the tax bill? Because you know you talk about
tell me about that.
So my biggest issue was with that tax bill. I think recently one of the bigger companies got $10 million in like tax benefits, and they're going to donate it. But that money belongs.
We're not gonna skate past that. So if they just as oppressed as you, then how are they anti-Black?
Belongs to you. That money should be for you and all of us and all our family. It doesn't belong to the 1%, 10% of America.
When we talk about Black people and the 1%ers and the rich and stuff, why do we always assume that Black people are broke? And let me finish before you jump into why are we always we're always operating under the assumption that all Black people are broke, that Black people, that there are no Black people in the 1% of this country, that there are no Black people that are CEOs, that there are no Black people that are business owners, that there are no Black people that head and run the corporations that benefit from these tax breaks.
Like, why even use Black magic for Black
people? About Black people from the.
And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
The prism of brokenness and oppression, as if the Black 1%ers don't exist.
Again, like that's we can talk about the exception and the rule, right? Because what you're speaking of is the exception of Black.
And we need to start actually having like real conversations about reparations, right? And like what reparations actually look like.
Not reparations,
right?
Not reparations. Wait. You guys are okay with Jewish people receiving reparations right now in this time, but you're like, no.
There's not enough time in the day for us to have a reparations conversation.
People have websites where they've actually created models and thinking about like, oh, even if you forget the mule, right? What does actually 40 acres for Black people look like? Or just recognizing that the trauma and the history that has been affected on Black people. Like I think about like literacy, right? You can't tell Black people for 200 plus years that you can't read and then give them books and be like, why aren't you reading? Why aren't you reading without addressing that trauma, right? There's things within our system, within ourselves that we need to address.
You know what the problem is with the Black person?
The biggest
I'm gonna
gift
tell
that
you what.
conservatism has ever given me is the opportunity to see myself as an individual.
Thank you.
not
I was
part
just
of
about to
some
say that.
collective.
I agree with the both of them 100%. But even for the dread-headed dude, you had runaway slaves that was being killed for even learning how to read. For even learning how to read. Your ancestors died for even learning how to read. And yet you still have Black people out here who refuse to pick up a book or do any type of research.
Yes.
All the time. It just for me, it's just like when we're Black people, like we're always supposed to be a part of some monolith and collective where we're just supposed to always be talking about the struggle
Why that's
and
so?
all of
And this
that
is the
other
thing.
stuff.
You speak
So when
it's
you
like,
want to talk about
why is every
Black
Black person? Why is a Black person? We have to always compare ourselves to white people for it to be some. But the white people. So it's like
because they see them as a perfect example.
In my mind, I feel like. At the end of the day, I'm Bevelyn Beatty. That's all I am. And all I know what to do is when that check come, that check say my name on it. When that rent come and say my name on it. When my phone bill due, that say my name.
Who here was raised in a Black Democratic household?
Black Democratic.
I want to hear what your reactions are to Black voters being synonymous with the Democratic Party.
Well, here's the thing. The reason that Black voters are synonymous with the Democratic Party is because we've been on the receiving end of about 50 years of an onslaught of PR. It comes from our entertainers. It comes from our ball players. It comes from our singers. It comes from the Democratic politicians who most of which are Black and empty, but are being used to sell us this idea of.
Yo, that dude over there, he straight up cooking. He cooking. He straight up cooking.
Of the Democratic Party being the home of African Americans. And that is why we vote 90% Democratic. Now, let me tell you something. There is not another demographic in the world that votes 9 out of 10 votes for one party. Why is that still something to be proud of? Why do we say that we are proud to vote 90% for Democrats? They have to do shit for us, okay? Because they know they're gonna get 90%.
You want to respond?
I think you're kind of essentializing just like Black people in general, because my perspective of, I didn't raise my hand, but like I did kind of grow up in a Black Democratic household. And like my family, I came here when I was 4 from the Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. And like, my mom didn't know Democratic or Republican. She just
knew policies.
She just knew policies, and she was watching the news and she was seeing what policies benefited her and her 3 children because she was a single mother. So like, I think that's definitely essentializing the Black community. Just like you're saying you want it to be an individual, you're kind of not doing that by, essentializing this rhetoric.
But I have to use the example because 90% of us vote a certain way. So just in the context of the conversation, I have to say, well, if 90% of us are voting a single way, like, why is that? And to me, that's a big driver of why.
Yeah, and it opens yourself up for brainwash for a community as well, because political leaders, they see you voting that much blindly like that, they're going to lie to you and do whatever because they know you're going to lie.
She just said policy. She just said
hold on. Yeah, from a policy standpoint, if you want to jump in, please.
It's not as much groupthink as people assume it is, as much as it's harm reduction. So one of the things that I often talk about, because I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm just Black and I'm George.
Yes.
I talk about what we need to do in our communities, right? Local level, macro level, micro level, right? Because that's really where it starts. Voting isn't the beginning, voting isn't the ending, voting is just a tool in the toolbox. That whole toolbox includes us as Black people when we do get money and when we do get on and when we do get these things, going back and bringing other people along with us, not shitting on them because they couldn't pull themselves up, by bootstraps. Again, like I always talk about that whole bootstrap argument because some people don't have boots. Yep. So it's like when you're telling people that they can pull themselves out of somewhere,
But then when you try to do that and they tell you F you and I'm gonna do it my way, then what? How long you gonna continue to help somebody that don't want to be helped?
people don't even have anything to pull from.
What is it about conservative politics that have convinced you that either the Republican Party or conservative politicians have your best interests in mind as Black people in America?
My biggest thing is this. I feel like a lot of conservatives, they just want to mind their business. They want to get their hands out of your pot and have you.
Well, traditional values.
Have you do what they did, figure themselves out. And I want to go back to student loans because I pay student loans, okay? I went to school for fashion marketing and merchandising, did not use the degree at all, it threw it away, and now I got all this money to pay back. So now every month I pay my bill on time, it reports to my credit, and because I paid on time, I got good credit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm still able to utilize my credit to go further. So for me, I'm not asking for the government to make better policies for me to pay back my loans. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work my business, and when I got the money I need, I'm gonna pay it off. And then let me answer though. And then when I get the chance and I make that money for my kids, if my kids choose to go to college, me as a parent, that's my responsibility to make sure that I pay for their education or I open the doors for entrepreneurship. So, because my kids don't have to go to college. If they want to own businesses, they can own businesses. If they want to get their education, they can get their education and work for their brother or sister who owns a business. So in my reality is this: how is it that the government keep having to pay back stuff that's our choice in the first place? Ain't nobody putting no gun in nobody head, making nobody go to school. That's what capitalism is saying. No, capitalism is not saying that. Capitalism is not saying that.
Be successful.
No, that's not true.
Yep, she's absolutely right. You have absolute free will and option to do exactly as you please to be successful.
Capitalism is not saying that. Capitalism is saying that you can start a business through trade. If you want to go be a doctor or lawyer, you could do that. Or if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can do that. It's still a choice. Regardless of what, it's a choice. That don't mean that because, it's a choice, but now we got to pay our taxes for the fact that you wanted to go to school and now I got to pay for that.
Let's let him respond.
We literally shame the people who don't go to college, people who are... America does. Like, we literally share. We say, like, for you to be successful in this country, you have to get a degree. You have to speak English, right? Like, there's all these things that are told to us that, like, we have to do to be successful in this country. If we don't do that, then you won't amount to anything.
Can I make a strong point? Because I agree with exactly what you said, is that we tell people in this country that they ain't shit if they don't have a college degree. And that is the biggest lie that we tell to people. And it is a huge lie that we tell to Black kids, that they are nothing.
Exactly. Most of the trades that you see Black people going into don't even require you to have a degree in the first place. You can literally go to vocation school and get a trade in carpentry and open up your own construction business. You don't need a college degree for that. You literally have tech classes and courses online that'll only cost you at least about, what, $25 to $50 per month? If you pay for the whole, it'll probably be $250 something. You got 4-week courses, 4-month courses that you can literally take for tech and get a job in.
without a college degree. Because you want to talk about student loan debt. I got student loan debt. You got student loan debt. She got student loan debt. These people got student loan debt. So what we're doing is we're telling these kids that they are nothing unless they have this degree, which is virtually worthless, okay, at a certain point. What we need to start telling our youth to do is to build businesses. Like, you don't need a degree to do that. And we have a system that is putting these kids, putting this idea in their mind that they need this degree to be worth something and making them indebted to the government at the same time.
Until we change that,
we're gonna start
the solution
to
is
lose
entrepreneurship and capitalism.
We're gonna start to lose some of us within the next like 15-ish minutes. So I want to like move along. We're gonna go into overdrive here. Who here believes that the black vote should be courted more?
Oh, then yeah, of course.
So for those of you who didn't raise your hands, why do you not feel
I
that
don't
way?
trust when they start courting us. Like I'm always like, oh God, what do they want? What are they trying to do? They haven't really helped us before. What do you want us to do now? And then we're gonna be left with nothing.
A person has to serve the majority. So if we're talking high level politics, no matter who you vote for, the majority of this country ain't me. It doesn't look like me. So it's never going to be anybody who's going to do anything that's going to make a movement and a needle on that type of level. Now, if you want to talk about micro level politics and councilmen and who's sitting on the student board, who's sitting as the mayor, now we could talk about that all day.
I strongly agree with him when he says that we don't talk enough about local politics.
So that's where I'm at. That's why I said like,
I think that the best thing that we can do in terms of thinking about advocacy is how do we set up certain policy and legislation to keep those people accountable, right? Like we need to be critical of both sides and thinking how people actually know what's on the ballot. Like what are the propositions that are happening? Because I don't think both sides are educating our people properly at all.
On the props. That's true. I would like to say, like, this whole conversation, listening to everybody, some things I do disagree with, some way out, but I agree with a lot of the entrepreneurship thing. Like investment. I think that we all want the same things. Everybody wants a boot. We all want boots. Some of us want more boots than others. Yeah. And I think we need to figure out, how do we get there together? How do we work together to get what we want, which is the same thing. Yeah. You know, I think we have different ways of getting there.
No, I mean, we're good. That's it.
We're good.
Guys, I appreciate it. Everyone signed everything.
Oh, can we take a picture?
We can take a picture.
Yeah, take a picture. Democracy. Black said. You did not just stage
Honestly, that video was a pretty decent video. So I did like the fact, I actually like having these type of conversations. You want to know why? Because it makes me just feel so grounded that there's other people out there that is worried about these types of things in the first place anyways, that can articulate themselves in a way where it makes sense. It's logical, it's not based off of emotions all the time. But that's neither here nor there. Hey, shout out to you guys out there that's been supporting me and watching my doggone channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.